Hey there, YouTube's Leisure Tech. I'm at you with another video. Today I want to talk about the movie that came out on HBO Max exclusively, The Little Things. The Little Things is a movie that stars Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. So this will be a spoilerish free, as much as possible, review of the movie itself. I don't want to ruin it for anyone that wants to go and watch it. And I'll also be discussing the video and audio quality of the stream from HBO Max. As stated before, this movie stars Denzel Washington. He is a washed up officer. He was in the big city of LA, and he has washed up in Kern County, California. This movie takes place in 1990. So Denzel Washington, he's a washed up cop now in Kern County, and he's tasked with picking up some evidence down in LA County. Whenever he gets there, he finds that some of the evidence that he's picking up has some relation to another case there. He's having to wait for it. And he meets Rami Malek's character, who is a new detective, very similar to how Denzel Washington was whenever he was younger, before he kind of washed out and came up north. The movie discusses a lot and hints around Denzel Washington's character's history. And of course, it's kind of a paint-by-numbers murder mystery. It's been done before. It's done competently here, but it's not the most riveting movie you'll watch. They very quickly believe they have a suspect. There's not a lot of mystery around who they think they want to capture, or who the suspect is. They are able to figure it out pretty quickly, or at least have a good idea of who they think it is. And that's where Jared Leto comes in. He is definitely the main antagonist for this movie. And Jared Leto, he's very comfortable in this role. If you've seen him in Blade Runner 2049, imagine him only with eyesight, and he hasn't showered in about 2 months. The thing that bothered me the most about his character in this movie, his walk, it just seems so unnatural. I don't know what he was doing with his walk, but he has such a gangly walk. It reminded me of Jar Jar Binks walking around. That kind of took me out of the film a little bit. I don't know why they felt he needed to walk the way that he walked, and I know that's a really silly thing. But aside from that, he's definitely very comfortable in this role. You can tell he's definitely enjoying his time making this movie. He's definitely an actor that gets into his characters. I definitely think if he were not in this movie, it would not have been as enjoyable as it is. Denzel Washington's character definitely shows. You can see there's a lot of pain and a lot of anguish hidden not very low beneath the surface. I don't want to discuss a lot of the plot of the movie or kind of spoil anything. I do think the movie is pretty good. It's a decent watch. It's not something I think I would revisit. It was an okay movie. Rami Malek's character, he was just kind of there. He was bland. There wasn't a lot with him that was very driving as a character. It was really a Denzel Washington and Jared Leto movie, and Rami Malek was just kind of there as a supporting character, which is a shame because I feel that's a waste of his talent. This movie definitely had a very strong cast. I just wish that the story had a little bit more to offer. The story does try in the final act of the movie to have a bit of a turn, a bit of a twist, because again, this is a very paint by numbers whodunit movie or crime thriller. If you're thinking of, I don't know, I guess you can think of the movie Seven, but the Seven is just so much more better done. Whenever you're talking about two cops from different worlds coming together to hunt down a killer, they have no idea who the killer is, and there's a lot of suspense, and then there's their pursuit. There's very little of that here. It's not very psychological at all. I think it tries to be a little bit in a couple of scenes. There's a scene where Jared Leto and Denzel Washington are in cars, and they're on opposing sides of a freeway. There's kind of a little bit of a cat and mouse game that goes on in that scene. It's definitely one of the better scenes of the movie. There's another scene where Denzel Washington is investigating Jared Leto's house, and Jared Leto's aware of what is going on. But aside from that, that's really about it. At the end of the movie, they put a twist on it. It doesn't work for me. The movie does leave more questions than it answers. Although at the end of the movie, I think it is pretty clear what Denzel Washington's character is trying to do for Rami Malek. I know I had a friend of mine ask me at the end of the movie, like, so what was going on with Denzel Washington's character? And I explained it for him, and it was pretty straightforward. So the movie, I'd probably give it 2 or 2.5 stars out of 5. It's a well executed movie. The problem with the movie is just that it's not that interesting of a story. We've seen it done over and over again. It's kind of like horror franchise, right? They do the same type of haunting or exorcist type movies, and you have the law of diminishing values, the law of diminishing returns on what you see. You can only see the same thing so many times before it gets not all that interesting. You become desensitized to it. As far as the streaming quality, it was a good stream. My streaming device is an Apple TV 4K. Now, I will say with the OS 14.3, I had a lot of streaming issues across the board. Netflix wasn't working for me correctly. iTunes movies wasn't working correctly for me. And HBO Max, a lot of times I had audio sync issues. Fortunately, just before this movie came out, OS 14.4 was released, and it has appeared to have fixed all of the streaming issues I've had. I haven't had Netflix, iTunes, or HBO Max crash or have any kind of audio sync issues since that update. So I was very relieved that I was able to just sit and watch and enjoy this movie without having to pause it or restart it multiple times. Because that could be pretty frustrating and ruin the immersion of watching something. As far as the video quality, it looked good. I didn't see a lot of screen crush. The blacks looked good. There's not a lot of dynamic range. And in fact, I don't even know if it was presented in HDR. Just it's not that type of movie. It's not a movie that's meant to stand out visually. And the audio quality, again, this isn't a movie that has gunfire or gunshots, even though they're police officers. I don't think anyone actually fires a pistol. That's not true. There is a single pistol shot fired in the movie, and it's actually a pretty important shot that's fired, and it's discovered near the end of the film. Other than that, it's a very dialogue-heavy movie. I did not once ever feel like I couldn't hear the dialogue or the dialogue was not clear. You don't need a very strong home theater in order to enjoy this film. If you enjoy Denzel Washington or Jared Leto, I think you will like this movie. If you're a big fan of Rami Malek, I think you will be disappointed. Give the video probably another 2.5 out of 5. It's not a movie that was made to be beautiful. It's not a movie that was made to be the best looking type of movie. It is kind of a period piece. It's really kind of interesting to think of a movie set in the 1990s as a period film. But that's what this is. It's a movie that's set in the year 1990, and it looks like 1990. There's nothing bright or beautiful about it. It's just kind of there. And same with the audio. The audio, I'd give it a little bit better of a score. I'd give it about a 3 out of 5. So that's my review of the movie. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please click like. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know what other types of videos you'd like for me to make in the future. Take care.